Hey, what's up everyone? Today I wanted to talk about Season 3. My last two videos have kind of just been about the gameplay, and I haven't had a chance to sit down and give you all my thoughts on Season 3, all the content coming with it, whether I think it's enough content, and if I think it's going to have a big impact on the game itself. So sit back, relax, get a snack. We're going to go over all the new things coming to Season 3, so if you do enjoy the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a like down below. I'm going to be uploading so many Season 3 videos here on the channel once it drops on Tuesday. I'm so excited. Okay, so diving right in, last weekend, if you somehow missed it, me and a bunch of my friends were invited to showcase brand new Season 3 content at HCS Charlotte, which was the first HCS event of this year. At that event, we got to check out a few of the new things, including the Bandit Rifle, the Shroud Screen, and two of the new maps, Chasm and Cliffhanger. So I thought a really good way to start off this video was by going over this content that I've actually got my hands on with, that I've actually had a chance to play with, so you get an idea of what I think about it. So starting with the new weapon, the Bandit Rifle, I'll be honest, I wasn't that excited for it. There's a lot of other more interesting weapons in the Halo universe, you know, like the fuel rod, a railgun, a sticky detonator, something like that would be far more interesting to me than a Bandit Rifle. So going into this, I wasn't that excited. Yeah, I was interested in checking out the new weapon, but overall, I was just like, meh, whatever. But once I actually got to use the Bandit Rifle for myself, my mind has been changed. I have become a massive fan of the Bandit Rifle. I was worried it was going to be just a carbon copy of the Battle Rifle or a weird mix of the Battle Rifle and the Commando, but I really think this weapon falls into its own category. It does not kind of overstep any of these other rifle weapons. And honestly, it might be my preferred weapon to pick up. It's a 5-shot kill or 7 shots to the body, but don't quote me on that, things may change. And a lot of people have asked me, does it feel like the Halo 5 Magnum? Is it comparable whatsoever to that? To be honest with you, I guess my answer to that would be kind of, but not really. It definitely has that Halo 5 Magnum kind of swag to it. I don't know how else to describe it. It has that feeling to it, but it is a very different gun. Getting a 5-shot with this thing feels very satisfying, and that's what the Halo 5 Magnum did the best. I also think Halo Infinite is missing a weapon like that, so the Bandit might just fill that position very well. My complaints about the weapon, I feel like the recoil is a little bit too strong. And I know that comes down to a discussion of, well, just master it and get good with it. That's a skill issue. To me, I just think the recoil was a little bit too much. But again, I may just not have had enough time to really get used to it. So the recoil might be okay. That's just something that I picked up on when I was playing with it. I also don't think it has D-scope. Again, I might be incorrect, but I'm almost sure it didn't have D-scope. If you don't know what D-scope is, that's basically when you're aiming down the iron sights, you get shot, you don't get D-scope, you can keep firing through even if you're getting shot. I feel like any weapon of this caliber needs to have D-scope. It just makes sense to me. If it already does have D-scope, or maybe they changed that before the full release, awesome, but that's just a little note that I wanted to throw in there. So overall, the Bandit Rifle gets a big thumbs up for me. I really like the Bandit. It's a lot more interesting than I anticipated. Also, I scrolled through all the coatings that were available in that build that I played, and they all looked amazing, so it has good coatings as well. Moving on to the Shroud Screen, the new equipment coming in Season 3. Again, the Shroud Screen initially didn't really excite me. The idea of it seemed interesting, but I thought, again, there's probably more interesting ideas than just a smoke screen in Halo, basically. If you don't know what the Shroud Screen is, basically think of it as a smoke screen. You shoot it down, a big blue bubble appears, you can still fire through it, you can still take damage and die when you're inside of it. You just can't see through it. So it's literally just a smoke screen, but make it Halo. So actually getting to use this thing in game, it was a lot cooler than I anticipated. Just like the Bandit, actually getting to play with it was really, really fun. I'm trying really hard to not let my hype and excitement of new content take over from my serious criticism, but honestly, the Shroud, it leads to a lot more outplay abilities than I anticipated. Again, I didn't get that much time with it, but it gave me an idea of what will be possible with it. For example, say you're being shot at, you could shoot the Shroud Screen down at your feet and just completely bamboozle the person in front of you. You don't always have to use it, you know, before an encounter happens. You can use it mid-fight and get yourself out of a bad situation. So the amount of outplay capabilities that's going to happen with this thing is going to be insane. So I'm really excited to see it in people's hands in the actual, you know, new season. Overall, Shroud Screen, more interesting than I anticipated. Again, there probably are more interesting equipments that will be coming in the future, but this one's actually pretty cool, and it looks really nice as well. So moving on to the maps that I played, Chasm and Cliffhanger. We're going to start with Chasm. So Chasm visually ticks all the boxes for me. I love the Forerunner architecture. I think the art style is perfect. They absolutely nailed it. But Chasm as a map, I don't really like it. It fits into that weird category that every single Halo game has, where they all just have a couple strange maps. So for Halo Infinite, launch site is definitely in there, and arguably Behemoth as well. I think Chasm might land in that weird map list that Halo Infinite is slowly growing. It's definitely still a fun map. I don't want to get my comments mixed up with it being a bad map. It's definitely fun. I just feel like I wouldn't want to grind it that much. You know, if it popped up every couple of times during a session, I'd be happy enough. But if I got it over and over again, I could see myself getting frustrated. It's basically just 2 long corridors and then a big gap in the middle. So if that does it for you, then you'll enjoy this map a lot. But visually, definitely A+. It's very good. Moving on to Cliffhanger, this map absolutely surprised me. So a couple of leaks of this map came out before I had a chance to see it for myself. And from these leaks, it looked massive. It looked way too big. I thought this map is going to be nothing but dead space, nothing going on. It's going to be boring to walk around and play on. Whenever I actually got to jump in and experience it, that was put to rest. Cliffhanger is a beautiful, fun to play social Halo map. Let me make that very, very clear. It is a social map. This is not a competitive. It is not an HCS map. This is a social map. And for that reason, it is a very fun map. Visually, it is amazing. I really like it. I know people are getting a little bit sick of that human UNSC Oni architecture. I get it. But you know what? I just like how this looks. It's on a mountaintop. There's like a frozen river on it. It's pretty. It reminds me of that Apex map, and I really like how that looks as well. Overall, Cliffhanger, big thumbs up as well. This new content so far is really, really good. So there are 2 more maps coming in Season 3. Oasis, the big team battle map, and a remake of Plaza that's being remade in Forge. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play on Oasis or see Plaza, so I can't make comment on those maps. But just know, if you're like me, a big team battle player, we are getting a new map, and I'm really excited to get my hands on it. So hopefully it's good, hopefully. And Plaza, that's probably my favorite map from Halo 5, so I'm really interested to see what kind of visual take they're going to have on it with Forge in this game. So the last thing that I got to play that was brand new was Escalation Slayer. This is basically gun game, so there's going to be a team variant and a free-for-all variant of this mode. I got to play the team variant, and I have to say, it was an absolute blast. I know that all I've said today was it was super fun, good. But to be honest with you, it all was really, really fun. Escalation Slayer in a team-focused way is really enjoyable. Basically, you'll all start with a set weapon. As your team gets more kills, it equals points. And once your team hits a certain amount of points, you level up to the next weapon, so on and so forth, until you eventually end up with an oddball at the end, and you have to bash the enemy team until you get enough points to win. It's a very simple concept. If you get a backsmack on an enemy player, I think you send them back a weapon or maybe back a point or something like that. But it's a very simple concept, but it actually plays really well. And I can see this being fairly popular in Halo Infinite. I'm really interested to see how the free-for-all variant works. You know, gun game is a classic FPS game mode, so seeing it finally come to Infinite in an official way makes me very happy. So that covers all the content that I've actually got to check out for myself. But now we're going to talk about the other stuff that is coming that I may not have got to play or, you know, experience for myself, but we can still kind of talk about it. So we have 2 new armor cores coming with Halo Infinite. We have the Chimera core and the Mirage core. This is basically the Crisis core and the SPI core. And if you don't know what SPI is, it's the armor that Kurt wears, which is one of my favorite Spartans. So I'm very excited. Shout out to all my lore fans. But Chimera and Mirage could not be more different from each other. They are basically polar opposite looks when it comes to Spartans, and this makes me happy because if you go with Mirage, you go with that very kind of typical Halo look. You know, you get a really nice looking Spartan. You go with Chimera, you're kind of going completely off the rails with Halo, but I still really enjoy how Chimera looks. I've seen a few comments about Chimera of people saying, no, this is too far, they're getting too crazy already. I don't think so. I think Chimera, it does look pretty wild, but I think it looks good. As long as it looks good, I'm personally happy enough. If they make something that is ridiculous looking and just looks straight up bad, that's when I will start having an issue. But Chimera and Mirage do very different cores, but I think it's just leading to more player customization and more player expression, which is never a bad thing in my opinion. I'm not going to cover it in this video, but we are getting a new 100 tier battle pass, which will be very nice to actually grind something again. Along with that, we're getting 2 new narrative events, Mindfall and then Sight Unseen. Getting 2 new narrative events is going to be very nice. Hopefully brings this multiplayer story into a more interesting state, because so far I have not been connected or interested with the story whatsoever. So hopefully this will be the start of me actually getting into it, because they haven't done a very good job so far, for me anyway. And it starts with Mindfall immediately, so we don't have to sit and wait for the first event. So I'm really hoping that they change up how events work. With Season 3, you know, I've made a few videos and definitely had my fair share of complaints about events within Halo Infinite so far, so hopefully we see a change come in. But 2 new narrative events, the story continues, let's see where it goes. And the new Fracture event for this season is called Firewall. So we get a new Fracture event as well as the narrative event. So Fracture events are the kind of non-canon, non-story events that are going on as well. I think I maybe saw something about them changing to be in line with the story or something like that. It's really hard to keep up with absolutely everything, but I'm pretty sure I saw something about Fractures not being completely non-canon anymore, and personally I think I'm a fan of that. I think I'd rather things kind of have their own connection to the universe in some way, but we'll see where the Fractures lead to as well. And of course, alongside that, we're getting some quality of life updates, and some weapons that are receiving some nerfs. So the Commando is going from an 8-shot kill to a 9-shot kill. The plasma pistol is going to have its charge shot time increased and its tracking properties adjusted. Currently, the plasma pistol's track shot is kind of like a missile, so it's kind of hard to dodge. And in the ranked mode, the Bulldog, the Heatwave, Shock Rifle, and Stalker Rifle are all going to have less ammo due to player feedback. And on top of that, enemy footsteps are now going to be harder to hear at a distance, but easier to hear when very close. They've also improved the accuracy of enemy locations based on footstep audio when enemies are above, below, or behind you. So basically, you're going to be able to hear when a Spartan is in your walls. They've totally removed from Ranked Arena the Mangler Energy Sword and Pulse Carbine. And in the future, the Disruptor and Spike Grenades will receive some tuning. And moving on, they've also got some networking and desync improvements. Rubber banding is less likely to occur when moving or sprinting immediately after a match starts. Ammo, equipment, and grenade counts are more consistent after entering and exiting a vehicle. Never even knew that one was an issue, to be honest with you. On the map Behemoth, players are now less likely to experience rubber banding while using a grapple shot to pick up a weapon from a power weapon pad. Also, didn't know that was a problem. Vehicles are now less likely to desync when players use the repulsor against them. This is a pretty big one. The amount of times that I've repulsed a vehicle and it looks just absolutely horrifying, the result of that. Hopefully this will stop some weirdness happening whenever I decide to repulse a Warthog. Melee attacks are now more likely to register when holding a power seed. So that's all the networking and desync improvements that they're bringing to multiplayer. They have a couple for the co-op campaign, basically the same stuff. So some nice improvements coming all across the board for Halo Infinite, content wise, and also just balance and quality of life improvements as well. But I'm sure this is far from all the bugs and little things that are going to be addressed, so we're gonna have to wait for the patch notes to come out along with Season 3 on Tuesday to finally see everything that's being adjusted. But let me know down in the comments, are all of you excited for Season 3? Are you really stoked to kind of jump back in and play Halo Infinite? Are you kind of someone that hasn't played for a while and you're kind of still on the fence whether you want to check it out or not? Let me know down below. I would love to see all of your thoughts on Season 3 and beyond. It finally feels like Halo Infinite is getting itself into a pretty regular content cycle. You know, we got Forge a few months ago. Now we're getting Season 3, and Season 4 has already been slated for June, so hopefully there's no delays and setbacks with that, and we can just enjoy regular Halo content and just more fun stuff to enjoy. So thank you all so much for watching. I will catch you in my Season 3 content that will be coming out very, very soon, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye!